Hey everybody, I'm Joe Menza. Thanks for checking out my videos and my channel. Today I thought I'd do something a little different. A lot of times I do like, mountain scenes or whatever, but I did this one recently, and this is sort of a wooded scene. It's got some depth to it. I'm not going to do it exactly the same way. Paintings never come out the same way twice, but something similar to this where it looks more like maybe you're in the deep woods with a path as opposed to no water. So we're going to try that today. Let me aim this a little better here. Okay. We have our palette here. You'll notice I got a lot more colors on my palette now, and I've been mixing some different things. I'm still in a more of an experimental phase, but for most people just starting out, you can get away with raw sienna, burnt umber, light red, ultramarine blue, cad yellow, or even lemon yellow, Payne's gray, and alizarin crimson. You can use those colors to pretty much do almost any painting and have really everything you need. I've added some variants, so yours may not look exactly like mine. Of course, I got the large Ron Ranson Hake, which you can get from me. I bought a case of these because sometimes they're so hard to find. Same thing with the little water jug. These are great because when you wipe your brush off, it takes the water off the edge. Plus, you can collapse them and take them with you. They're real cheap, but I couldn't find them anywhere. I had to order a big case from China, so you can order them off of my website if you want them in like 2-packs. Good to have one at your house or wherever, studio, and one that you can take with you. I mean, you could use anything. You could use a jar. I just like them because when I rub the brush across it, it takes just the right amount of water off. Okay, first thing we're going to do, like I do every one, I wet it down. If you're doing this upright like this, water is going to cascade down the page. I like that. You may not. You can do it flat. So I do this 3 times to get enough water on there. No one ever really told me in the beginning how much water to apply. I like 3 coats. I'm pulling a little dirt off the sides, a little old paint off the sides. Doesn't bother me. Not a big deal. So some hairs in there. So we're not going to have any real sky in this one. First thing we're going to do, as usual, the raw sienna. Now, you got to leave some light in here for that little distance thing. But you can put a little bit of raw sienna in there just so you see that there's something in the distance. But ultimately, you want your light coming through that general area. It's going to get a whole lot darker than this. Now, with this, because there's no sky, you can pull down. I like doing this and going heavier and heavier as I go. All this stuff in the end is going to look like little trees and things way off in the distance. You can use your big hake for these big brush strokes. Over here, we're going to have the wooded area and the path. So you could virtually come across this whole thing with the raw sienna just to give it that coating on there. Again, you can now take a little bit of burnt sienna, burnt umber, and add it, and you can start hitting that. Now, I've seen some people, they use a rigger brush for this. You don't have to. You just stick with the same brush. Make sure you got a razor thin edge on here. Flatten it down, and you can make background trees all day, all night. Okay, you can even put in, these are going to be some more distant trees in there. So you can do that all day, all night. Start putting in a little bit of your ground forces here. A little bit more raw sienna, burnt umber coming across here. This is going to be our ground forestry area. We're going to double up on this before too long. Now you can see it looks like just like a lot of sticks in there. That's going to dry back. That is going to dry back. Now, the way I did this one, I did a lot of green in it. You can do that. You can use greens, browns. They're all earth tones. If you're not going for that realistic tone, you can use purple. And you can go really any direction that you want with it. It doesn't have to be, it could be surrealistic looking. Now, you can put a little bit of green in here for a little bit of your foreground. Ultimately, we're just staining the paper. That's all we're doing. We're staining this paper, and we're going to build up on this, and we're going to build more as we go along. A little bit more, some greens in here, some bushes in between. That's all going to be behind the scenes there. Okay, now we're going to start putting in some darker trees. Or these are still going to be somewhat distant trees, so we're going to use burnt umber, a little bit more. I use a little more Van Dyke brown. You can use neutral tint or Payne's gray, but you can see these are a little bit darker. Try to put them between so you can still see some things that are going on here. Like 3 or 4 here. You know, coming up here. Put like 3 here. These are even closer now. Bash in a little bit on the bottoms here. Some more brown. This is going to be a little browner of a scene than the one that I showed you when I started out. Then what I do is I flatten, get a little bit more of a razor's edge, and I start making some larger branches coming off. A little bit too large. Again, I don't want to go to the rigger brush if I don't have to. I'd rather just do like this. These will be hidden by leaves and things anyways. Still looks okay. Plus there's going to be some bigger trees even further as we go in the front. Still haven't cleaned my brush yet. Little green, I'm sorry, a little ultramarine and a little cad yellow. Get some more green in the foreground. Mix it up a little bit in there. I mean, mostly what you find in the woods, I find, is greens and browns. That's why I use a lot of them. You can see we got a lot of this coming up. The way I was going for now. Now I get a little bit more, I use Van Dyke brown, a little neutral. And we'll start putting just a little more foliage in here. A little bit more on the ground. Blending that in here. And while we're here, let's clean the brush and make a path. Little light red and a little ultramarine blue. That almost kind of makes a brownie color. So you can start off, just kind of bring a path in. Don't worry about the shape of it, because you can shape it. You can shape it out by bringing in more from the sides. So I'll do that right now. A little bit more Van Dyke brown. We'll bring in the shape of it. So you get a little bit of a road there. A little bit of a road. Boom, boom. So we have the beginnings of our forest here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to dry it a little bit using the old trusty hair dryer. Mute your sound if you like. All right, now I'm going to go to the old rigger brush. This is a number 3. Number 3 rigger. Get plenty of water on that thing. Get yourself a nice brown that matches your trees in the background. And we're going to start putting little branches in, coming down from the top, going up. These should be not too dark, because these are background branches. Okay. Just keep flicking it. Give it a flick. I'm still not where I like to be with these little branches. You might be able to do better. Some people make these branches look super realistic. I don't yet, but I get by with them. I'm here for fun. Now those will dry back. If you want to, you can flick up make little, while you got a little paint still on your rigger, you can add a little back here just to add little touches. That's it for that. Now we're going to take our hake brush and squeeze the water out so that it's pretty dry, because we're going to bash in some leaves in the background here. We're in a brown and green theme, so we want to keep it more like to the green yellowish side. See? Keep it light initially. Go to the lighter color. Some more yellow on the brush. The harder you bash, the bigger the leaves will be. And you can progressively add a little blue. Go a little bit darker as you go along. And we've got the makings of a little background here. So, next thing we're going to do, I want to do a little bit more drying. See, what we have here is we have two layers going now. We have this deep background layer, then we have this secondary layer. And we can put more trees in here. You can even put a third layer in. You want to get a little bit more. As long as they're darker than these back trees here. So we could put in actually a couple more. If you want to get it a little darker, add a little blue to the brown. And you can get some pretty darks there. And then just add, you can add another couple trees here. Don't want to kill too much of the light from the background. And there's a couple more trees. Trying to keep a little bit of the light peeking through. A little bit of that. So that adds a couple more even closer trees. And over here, I'm going to go a lot darker. I'm even going to add some neutral to this. Payne's gray, I mean. And we're going to go a lot darker here. A lot darker, because this tree is going to be real up close. I'm going to put a guy right in here. This in here. We can even break this guy off into like a third. A little bit darker though. Again with some branches. This one I got to kind of go back to the old color because I forgot to do my branches while I was here. Little branches. Okay. So we got these foreground trees here. Put a little bit more in here. Bash in a little bit more brown in here. And keep some of that green going in there just to vary it up a little bit. Remember, I make these up as I go along. I don't like to plan things. I don't like planning, drawing. I do this for fun. If this doesn't come out right, I mean, I'll learn for the next one. But I don't draw. If that's wrong, hey, report me to the Artist Guild of America. You have an artistic license. That means you can do anything. See, these are closer. They're supposed to be anyway. Trying to bring them down as low as possible so they're right in my face. Okay, let's get out the old credit card. My favorite part. So why do you do credit cards so much? I like it. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things. Don't know why, but I really, really like scraping it out. And I really like doing the trees too and getting a little texture from the trees. Like these little veins that would come down from the tree. I think it looks really neat. Blend in a little bit of that with your finger. And some little trunks there. Look at how that just gives a little sense of realism. You could do a lighter one here. Now I do this. I've not seen anyone do this. Doesn't mean I invented it, but it was Ron Ranson I saw do the credit card trick, and I liked it so much I started scraping everything. Scraping in houses, cars. No, I mean, you could. All right, so I just scraped in a little bit of the tree trunk there. And I put in maybe even like a little bit of rocks there. I'm going to go back to the rigger brush. I'm going to put in some more branches for these intermediate trees here. Not too many. Not too many. And then I'm going to darken it up, and I'm going to go over to this guy. I'm going to make it like an inky consistency. Not enough water. See, sometimes it comes off dry like that. It doesn't hurt anything, but let me go over them again. Can't seem to get enough water on this brush. Let me just get a lot more water on it. Let's go over this one again. Trying to get more with the flicking, because that's the key to it, is flicking your finger. Little flicks. Need a lot more water on this brush. Paint's coming off real dry here. Put as many of these as you want on there. But if you put too many, it's going to look bad. Again, you can, what's left on your brush, you could do a little grassy areas back in here. You can take that card too, I forgot. You can make little grasses coming up off these trees. Okay, so you can see we've built up some pretty good layers here. I'm going to put a little more darkness in here. I want to send these trees back a little further by adding a little more darker brown in here. Still want some green though in this front here, just don't want it all brown. That should send it back a little bit. You can come back in with your card. Put a little dimension in there. That's it. Gives it a little something so that it's not so flat looking. All right, so that's that. Now we're going to come back and we're going to put a little bit more, just some more leaves in these trees to try to bring it forward a little bit. First I want to do a little drying. This kind of looks cool here. It almost looks like a little hole in the bottom of the tree. I didn't even purposely do that. All right, back to the large hake. Squeeze out the water, and let me get some more yellow in here. Cad yellow. I'm try to get a lot on my brush because I want this to pop more. I want this to pop out a little bit more. Okay. A little more pop in there, and then I'm going to add some blue to green it up a little bit for this side. Don't cover up all that in the background or you'll lose everything you worked for. You got to be gentle with it. And then a little bit of neutral, just to, so you know there's shadows in the darker areas. And then over here, but not too dark, because those areas lower down in here, there's going to be shadows. See? I have a pretty nice little forestry scene. Let's just do a halftime look. Here's what we have so far. Scraping a few more stones in here. I think it needs it. And a little bit more green down here. Oh my, like a darker green. The green looks weird. Okay. Looks like we got a little hair in the picture here. It's no big deal though. Okay, so next thing, I'm gonna pop in a few more little twigs. Just make it a little more rustic. Okay, then the last thing's last is put a little guy, little figure toward the back end here. The lighter you make this guy look, the further in the back he's gonna look. I use like a really like super dark brown as opposed to like, I mean, you can make a gray too. I like to use like a dark brown. Okay, so let's pop in our little guy. He's a little too dark. I'm going to put a little water in the brush. Tone it down just a little bit. Okay. Put a little head on him. And give him a little dog. Looks more like a pig. Yeah, for a distant thing, looks pretty good. Maybe he's got a pet pig. Okay, there you have it. There's your finished painting there. Let me sign her. Okay, you know someone's going to tell me, where are the birds? Where are the birds? So I'll put a couple birds in. Have them a little off to the side that time. All right. Here's your finished piece. Let's try to get some good light on here. So you can see here how we have some depth here. Like the trees here look closer. You have all this depth going in the distance. Just for comparison, here was the other one. And again, I said I purposely wasn't going to make it the same. This one here is a little darker, a little more scarier forest. But this one has a little bit more browns going for it. So that's it. That's your painting. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave some comments or subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate you watching, and everybody, good luck on your paintings. And show us what you're doing, make some videos, and most of all, have fun. Thanks.